Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome to us all to this episode of the Golden Word series, episode 29. Inshallah, in this episode, as I've already indicated on my WhatsApp status and whoever has contact with me, I've said that we will discuss two poems to make it 30 episodes to complete it. I think the 30 episodes is fine. So this is episode 29. We will do episode 30 and then we will call it, we will say Alhamdulillah. Okay, the first one is Hal Kana Hubban, and for the record, both are going to be from this book. The title is Aqulu Lakum, I say to you, or I tell you. Aqulu Lakum, very beautiful title for a book. Yani whatever is in there is what he is telling us. Aqulu Lakum by Salah Abdul Sabur. So we are taking the first poem, which is Hal Kana Hubban, was it love? So he says, Hal Kana ma Bainana Hubban, was what was between us, was it love? Hal Kana ma Bainana Hubban, was what was between us love? وعشناه وعشناه, and we lived it, was it love and we lived it? That is, he wants to say that the time that we spent together, was it love that we were living? كان حلما, or it was just a dream. حلم, a dream. عندما أدركنا الصبح, and when the morning caught up with us, was it just a dream? And so, such that when the morning caught up with us, أدركنا الصبح, morning caught up with us. The verb أدرك is to catch up with. يعني أدركته في الطريق, I caught up with him on the road. That is, I walked fast and caught up with him on the road. From the verb أدرك. أدرك sometimes also mean to understand, to reach an understanding with your mind. Okay, so it has both meanings. So he's saying that, was it love that we lived, or it was just a dream? And so when morning caught up with us, Nسيناه, we forgot about it because it was just a dream. أننا خفنا, أننا خفنا, or we just got scared. على قلبنا, for our heart, we were scared for our heart. وفي ثرى الخوف دفناه, and in the soil or the earth of the fear, we buried it. So he's talking about a particular feeling, a particular time frame he lived with a beloved. I do not know, be it a man or woman, be it man, be it woman. It spoils nothing. He's just talking about two people that were sharing a good time together. The relationship between them is about love. And so he queries, was it love that we lived, or it was just a dream? And so when we woke up in the morning, when morning caught up with us, Nسيناه, or we were just scared for our hearts, and so in the soil of fear, we buried the love, or we buried that particular thing we were feeling. It happens. Sometimes you are in love with somebody and you are scared of the person's personality. You are scared of something that the person has. You are thinking that this love you are feeling for the person may be harmful. And so you bury it in the fear. That is what he is describing here as أننا خفنا, or we got scared على قلبنا, for our hearts. وفي ثرى الخوف, and in the soil, ثرى is soil or earth, ground. وفي ثرى الخوف دفناه, and in the earth of the fear we buried it. لو عاش, if it had survived, that thing that we were living, we don't know if it is love or something, that thing that we were living, if it survived, لو عاش, if it lived, لو فتحت للشمس عيناه, if its eyes were to be opened for the sun, كنا رعيناه, you would have seen it. That thing that we were living, if its eyes were opened for the sun, that is, if it survived and saw a brighter day, كنا رعيناه, you would have seen it. That is what he puts beautifully as لو عاش لو فتحت للشمس عيناه كنا رعيناه. That is, if it had survived among us and had a very fruitful time, we would have seen it. And he says, لما تركناه. Actually, this is a free verse poem. I should have introduced. It's a free verse poem, not the metered type, the one with sadr and ajz and all that. Not those type. This is a free verse. It flows. You can see it right there. It flows like that. Okay. So he says, لما تركناه. When we left it, this particular emotion, when we left it, في مهمه. Check that word there. It is a very important word. And when we say مهمه, a very far away wasteland, or a deserted desert, a land far away somewhere that has been deserted. That is what we call مهمه. And he says, لما تركناه. When we left this, what was between us? When we left it, في مهمه قاس. When we say something is causing, that is the thing is harsh, the thing is severe. You can hardly stand it. So it says, when we left it in a faraway, harsh land, رميناه, we threw it. So when we think we had left it, what it meant was that we have thrown it in a deserted, faraway land somewhere, which is not nice. It says, في قلبه, in the heart of that particular thing that was between us. I don't want to say it is love, because he himself is questioning. هل كان ما بيننا حبا. So we can't say it's love. Something was between the two. So here he says, في قلبه, in the heart of that thing that we threw away. أنفاسه تبكي, its breath is crying. Because we've thrown what is between us away, far away, somewhere in a deserted land. And so what is between us? Its heart. He has made it kind of a human. The feeling or the emotion between us, he has made it into a human form. And he says, when we left it, what it meant was that we threw it away in a far away, very harsh land, very severe land. And in his heart, his breath was crying. أننا هجرناه, أي أننا هجرناه. Its breath was crying that indeed we had left it. So if there was something between you and somebody and you throw it away, you do not know each other again, you are acting like strangers, this is what the emotion between you two is telling you. It's telling you that you have actually thrown it away in some bush somewhere, some land far away somewhere, and the land is not welcoming. It is severe for it to survive. You are actually punishing it. He says it's crying always. أننا هجرناه. Why did we leave it? Or أننا هجرناه. It is crying that indeed we have left it. And he says, يا أيها الحب الذي ماتا. So now he declares that that thing between them is a love that has died. So he calls onto it and says, يا أيها الحب الذي ماتا. Oh, you love that have died. لو يرجع اليوم الذي فاتا. If a day that has gone away, fata, to pass. لو يرجع اليوم الذي فاتا. If a day that has passed can be returned. لو عاد يوم منك. If a day should return from you, that is the days, the beautiful days we lived. If a day should return from you, عشناه, you would have lived it. Okay, so he is talking about a particular emotion that is no more there, and the emotion is crying somewhere, crying the dejection, how the two have deserted it somewhere in a faraway land, suffering alone. And he's questioning, why did you leave it? And so he's saying that if a day can be returned, and if a day from this particular emotion or from the beloved can come back, عشناه, they would have lived it. Okay. So he says, هل كان حبا. هل كان حبا, was it love? And then he says, هل كان ما بيننا حبا وعشناه أم كان حلما عندما أدركنا الصبح نسيناه أم أننا خفنا على قلبنا وفي ثرى الخوف دفناه لو عاش لو فتحت للشمس عيناه كنا رأيناه لما تركناه في مهمه قاس رميناه في قلبه أنفاسه تبكي أننا هجرناه يا أيها الحب الذي ماتا لو يرجع اليوم الذي فاتا لو عاد يوم منك عشناه. Okay, this brings us to the end of this episode, and this is a free verse poem. As I've already indicated, the book it is from, a very interesting book, a Libyan book for that matter, describing a dejected emotion very beautifully. Simple vocabulary, simple lines. And I'm sure you've learned a thing or two, new vocabularies. At least you've seen hulm if you didn't know it, you've seen adraka if you didn't know it, and you've seen thara, which I said is earth, soil, if you didn't know it, and you see dafana, to bury, and also you've seen words like mahmahin, a new word, qasin, if you didn't know it, you've seen it here too. Okay, so all these are words that we've learned from this episode. Okay, so till we meet again in the next episode, have a very good time, have a blessed time. Eid Mubarak. Now we are in the Eid mood. Eid Mubarak. May we have a good time, and may the world all together see peace. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.